On a lonely highway at dusk, a racist cop pulls over a black man driving a luxury car. The cop starts with a shocking insult, tearing up the man's license to humiliate him. But the calm, collected driver flips the tension back with a single line, hinting that the cop just made the worst mistake of his career. "You people never learn your place, do you?" The words slice through the warm hush of dusk like a rusty blade. Red and blue strobes spin over the lonely stretch of I-87, bouncing off the polished side of a midnight black BMW parked on the shoulder. Cicadas hum in the tall grass. The night air tastes of gasoline and dust. Officer Daniels adjusts his duty belt with a grunt, puffing out his chest as if the darkness might forget who's in charge here. His patrol car idles behind the BMW, headlights glaring like interrogation lamps. He knows the dashcam's rolling. Perfect. He likes when people watch him remind these people how the world really works. Inside the BMW, the driver sits perfectly still. Black man, maybe late 30s. Crisp charcoal suit, white. Shirt open at the collar. Hands exactly where they should be, at 10 and 2 on the wheel. His eyes, dark and unreadable, study Daniels through the half-open window. No fear. Daniels hates that most of all. "You know why I pulled you over?" Daniels sneers, leaning in close enough to catch the faint scent of expensive cologne. Subtle, unplaceable, like old money and soft power. The man's voice is calm, almost bored. "No, officer. Maybe you'll enlighten me." Daniels raps the window with his knuckle, hard enough to make the man blink, but he doesn't flinch, doesn't stammer. Daniels feels his lip curl. License, registration, now. The man moves. Slow, deliberate, wallet from the inner jacket pocket, papers from the glove box. Each motion precise, respectful in the way Daniels expects, but the calm stays. That calm scratches under Daniels' skin like poison ivy. Daniels snatches the license first. He doesn't even look at the name, just holds it up, inspects it like trash. Then, with a flick of his wrist, he tears it in two. The rip sounds loud in the hush between them. Oops. Daniels smirks, letting the torn pieces flutter onto the asphalt like confetti. "Guess you'll need to get yourself a new one. Hope you don't mind the fine." A pickup roars past, its horn blaring in the dark. The gust rattles the papers still clutched in Daniel's hand. The driver doesn't move, just watches. "You know, officer," the man says, voice soft but sharp, enough to cut, "you really should check who you're disrespecting." Daniels barks a short laugh. "And who the hell do you think you are?" The driver's eyes flick to the torn license at Daniels' feet, then back up, unwavering, steady as stone. He tilts his head, just slightly. "Someone you're going to wish you'd treated better." Daniels snorts, stepping back, puffing out his chest again. "We'll see about that." But deep in the patrol car, the radio crackles with a voice Daniels can't quite make out, a name, repeated twice, his own name echoing back at him like a warning. Marcus J. Carter. The torn license dances in the wind, disappearing into the dark. Somewhere behind the calm in Marcus's eyes, something shifts, a quiet promise that this is only the beginning. Daniel stomps back to his cruiser like he owns the night. His boots grind the torn bits of license into the asphalt. He throws the BMW's registration onto the passenger seat and slides in behind the wheel. The stale scent of cheap coffee and vinyl greeting him like an old friend. He wipes a bead of sweat from his temple with the back of his hand. The adrenaline buzzes in his veins. He loves this part. The authority, the silence, the waiting. He grabs the mic. "Dispatch, this is Unit 12. Need a full run on a Marcus J. Carter, New York license. Plate number Bravo Mike Whiskey 221. Static." Crackles back. The dispatcher, young voice, probably green. Daniels imagines her cheeks going pink when she hears his voice, the big man on patrol. Copy that, Unit 12. Running it now. Daniels glances in the rearview mirror. Marcus is still sitting there, head turned slightly, eyes forward, hands visible. That calm, like he knows exactly how this is going to go. Daniels huffs. Arrogant prick, he mutters under his breath. He wants Marcus to sweat. Wants to haul him out, cuff him across the hood, call back up just to make it a show. His fingers drum on the dash. His thumb flicks the torn edge of the license again and again, a nervous tick he'd deny if asked. The radio pops. Unit 12. Come in. Daniels leans forward. Go ahead. The dispatcher's tone has changed, tight, forced, polite. Can you confirm the name, please? Marcus J. Carter? Daniels rolls his eyes. Yeah, that's what I said. Something wrong with your ears tonight? A pause. Static hisses. Daniels squints at the mirror. Marcus hasn't moved an inch. It's like he's waiting for Daniels to catch up to something obvious. Unit 12. Stand by. We're getting multiple hits on that name. Daniels snorts. Multiple hits? What is he? Some kind of fugitive? Tell me he's got priors. More static. A voice in the background, muffled, interrupts the dispatcher. Daniels catches one word. Internal. His pulse stutters. Dispatch. Repeat. That? He snaps. A different voice cuts in. Deeper, older, the night supervisor, maybe. Unit 12, this is Sergeant Myers. Confirm your status. Daniels bristles. I'm status green. What's the damn problem? It's just some negative, Daniels. Stand by. Do not escalate. Return the documents to the subject immediately. Daniels barks a humorless laugh. What? He's obstructing. Negative. Stand by for instructions. Do not engage. Daniels grips the mic so hard it creaks. His eyes flick back to Marcus, who's now looking directly into the cruiser's mirror, eyes locked on Daniels's reflection. A slow smile spreads across Marcus's face, not mocking, not smug, just certain. Daniels feels the back of his neck prickle. He mutters to himself, "Who the hell are you?" The torn license pieces catch a breeze and tumble off the passenger seat, vanishing under the dash. Dispatch clicks back in, voice hushed like they're hiding secrets from him. Unit 12, please confirm you understand. Daniels doesn't answer. He just stares at Marcus, and for the first time tonight, Officer Daniels feels something he hasn't felt in a long time. Doubt. Daniels slams the cruiser door harder than he needs to. The thunk echoes down the empty stretch of highway like a warning shot. He squares his shoulders, fixes his hat, and walks back toward the BMW with long, heavy strides. Boots grinding gravel, flashlight swinging like a baton of authority. Marcus stands beside the BMW now, door shut behind him, hands folded in front of him like he's posing for a portrait. The suit doesn't wrinkle. The collar sits sharp and perfect against his neck. The wind lifts the corner of his tie as if it's bowing for him. Daniels hates it. Hands where I can see them. Daniels barks, though Marcus's hands are already visible. They're right here, Marcus says softly. His tone isn't disrespectful. It's worse. It's patient, like a teacher waiting for a child to calm down. Daniels steps closer, the beam of his flashlight cutting across Marcus's chest. Turn around. Marcus raises an eyebrow. On what grounds, officer? Daniels's jaw tightens. Failure to comply. Obstruction. Marcus's lips twitch into the ghost of a smile. Obstruction of what, exactly? Daniels's free hand curls into a fist. The question lands heavier than it should. It's not the words, it's the ease, the calm. Like Marcus already knows how the script ends. Daniels points the flashlight straight at Marcus's face. The beam catches the glint in his eyes, but Marcus doesn't flinch, doesn't squint, doesn't look away. You think you're funny? You think you're above the law? Daniels snaps. I think, Marcus says, voice steady. You don't know who you're talking to. A muscle in Daniels's neck jumps. He steps closer, close enough to smell that cologne again. Deeper now, like wood smoke and old leather. License was invalid. Daniels lies, voice low. Could be fake ID, could be fraud. Marcus chuckles. A single soft note that cuts deeper than any insult. If that's true, why did dispatch tell you to stand down? Daniels's ears burn. The dashcam on his chest picks up every word. He feels its little red light like a branding iron. Turn around, hands on the hood. Daniels repeats. It comes out shakier than he means it to. Marcus doesn't move. He tilts his head, studying Daniels the way Daniels has studied countless black men on the side of lonely roads. The same clinical curiosity, flipped back at him like a mirror. Tell me, Officer Daniels, Marcus says. Each word measured like a judge reading a verdict. Do you always tear up someone's license when you're nervous? Daniels's breath catches. He steps forward again, too close now. He can see the fine weave of Marcus's tie, the slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. I'm not nervous. Marcus's eyes soften, almost pitying. You should be. 4. A moment, the only sound is the wind, the hum of distant traffic, and Daniels's own pulse hammering in his ears. Behind them, the cruiser's radio crackles again. A faint voice repeating Marcus's name, a rank. Something Daniels can't quite hear over the roar of blood in his head. Marcus's voice slices through the noise. Quiet but deadly. You still think you're the one asking questions here? Daniels opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. Daniels's. Boots crunch on the shoulder's gravel as he storms back to his cruiser. The wind feels colder now. The hum of highway traffic too far to matter. The BMW's taillights glow faintly red behind him, like watching eyes. He slams the door shut so hard the window rattles. The stale cruiser air welcomes him back. Sweat, burnt coffee, and the leftover stench of fake control. He stabs at the radio. Dispatch, Unit 12. I need confirmation. Who the hell is Marcus J. Carter? Static hisses. The dispatcher's young voice flickers in, strained and. Careful. Unit 12. We're patching you through. Daniels curses under his breath. He checks the rear view. Marcus hasn't moved. Still standing by his car, hands in his pockets now. Completely unconcerned, like Daniels is just a mosquito whining in the dark. A new voice crackles over the speaker. Deeper, older, calm. Daniels' stomach drops as soon as he hears the tone. Daniels. This is Captain Reeves. Explain your status. Daniels adjusts his mic, his mouth suddenly dry. Subject is being uncooperative. Reeves cuts him off. Negative. Subject is not to be detained. Return his documents. Apologize. Daniels barks out a humorless laugh. Apologize? Captain, you can't be serious. Reeves's voice hardens to steel. I am very serious, Officer Daniels. Return his documents immediately. Daniels feels sweat bead under his collar. He taps the dashcam with a finger. This is on video, Captain. He was, Officer Daniels, do you understand direct orders? Reeves says. Each word is slow and razor sharp. You are to stand. Down. Do not escalate further. Daniels swallows. His tongue feels too big for his mouth. With all due respect, sir. No respect left to give, Daniels. Not tonight. Reeves snaps. Then the radio drops to a hiss, like Reeves is leaning closer, like he wants Daniels to feel every syllable. You just pulled over the wrong man. The words hang in the stale air like smoke. Daniels' throat tightens. He glances again at Marcus. Now Marcus is watching him, chin slightly lifted, eyes patient, that same small knowing smile on his lips. Daniels presses the mic again. What's his rank? Silence. Static crackles. A half breath from Reeves, then nothing. The line goes dead. Daniels slams the mic back into its cradle so hard it bounces free again. He wipes his sweaty palms on his trousers. The cruiser feels smaller now, a cage. His badge feels heavier on his chest. Outside, Marcus hasn't moved. He just stands there, watching the man who thought he held the leash. The man who thought the uniform made him untouchable. Daniels suddenly feels the bitter taste of something he hasn't tasted in years. Fear. Daniels sits frozen behind the wheel. The hum of the cruiser's engine vibrating through his legs but failing to drown out the pounding in his head. The word apologize echoes like a bad joke. His fingers drum the steering wheel once, twice, before he forces himself out of the car. The door creaks open like it's protesting too. Gravel crunches under his boots as he walks back toward the BMW, the patrol car's headlights casting long, thin shadows across the blacktop. Marcus hasn't moved. He stands exactly where Daniels left him, hands still in his pockets, shoulders relaxed, gaze locked on Daniels like he's been waiting to see how far the mask would slip. Daniels clears his throat, but the sound comes out dry, like sandpaper scraping a pipe. He tries to straighten his posture, tries to remember how it felt 15 minutes ago when he owned this moment, when power flowed so easily from his badge and belt. It's gone now. He stops a few feet in front of Marcus, flashlight hanging useless at his side. The red and blue strobes paint their faces in flickering slices. Blue shadow, red guilt, blue lie, red truth. Mr. Carter. Daniel starts, voice low. Marcus raises an eyebrow. A silent invitation. Go on. Daniels' tongue sticks to the roof of his mouth. His throat works around the word like it's poison. He clears his throat again. I apologize for the inconvenience. The corner of Marcus's mouth lifts, not a smile exactly, but close enough to sting. Inconvenience? He repeats softly, tasting the word as if it's foreign. Daniel shifts his weight, eyes darting to the dashcam on his chest, the one that's seen everything. He forces himself to look Marcus in the eye. For tearing up your license, Daniel says, the words tasting like rust. For the disrespect, the highway hums behind them. An owl calls from somewhere beyond the tree line. Marcus doesn't move, doesn't let him off the hook. Daniels feels sweat bead on his neck again. My supervisor instructed me to return your documents. He opens his palm, the torn pieces still there, crumpled and sad. Marcus glances at them, then back at Daniels' face. That's not how it works, officer. You don't get to break something and hand it back like it's whole. Daniels stiffens. The sting rises in his chest, hot and stupid. I'll file a report. They'll issue you a new one. Marcus tilts his head, considering him like a scientist studying a specimen. Then he steps forward, not aggressive, but uncomfortably close. Daniels catches the scent again, that same deep cologne. Calm power. You really thought this badge made you untouchable, didn't you? Marcus's voice is low, soft, almost kind. You thought I'd just stand here, humiliated and grateful for your scraps. Daniels' mouth opens, but no defense comes out. He feels the highway's breeze slip under his collar, cold against his sweat. Marcus looks down at the torn license, then back at Daniels. His next words are slow, deliberate. This is the part where you learn. Actions have rank too. Daniels doesn't answer. He can't. He closes his hand around the ruined license pieces like they might bite him if he drops them. A long moment stretches between them. Two men in the dark. one uniform unraveling thread by thread under a stranger's steady gaze. Then Marcus steps back, adjusts his cufflinks, and turns toward his car, done with the conversation in a way that leaves Daniels standing there alone under his own lights, the apology echoing in his ears like a brand new punishment. Daniels's cruiser idles in the cracked lot behind the precinct, engine ticking in the night. His fingers drum the wheel again, same nervous tick, but this time there's no darkness to hide it. Sodium lights overhead flicker like dying stars, making his shadow dance across the dash dot. He checks the clock. 11:42 p.m. He should be home by now. Feet up, cheap beer, the hollow comfort of authority left at the door. But the radio order was clear. Return to base immediately. No explanations, no backup. Just a voice he couldn't argue with. He cuts the engine, steps out. The chill of the night hits him in the chest. He adjusts his duty belt like armor that suddenly feels too heavy. Inside the precinct, fluorescent lights hum like a swarm of bees. Cheap linoleum floors, old paint that can't quite cover the mildew smell in the corners. Daniels has walked these halls for 10 years, swaggered them really. Always the biggest badge in the room when the captain wasn't around. But tonight the walls feel closer. Too many doors. Too many eyes. At the front desk, Officer Kim barely looks up from her clipboard. She glances at him over her glasses, eyes flicking to the torn license still folded in his breast pocket. Captain's conference room. Now. Daniels wants to bark something back. You don't order me around. But the words don't come. He pushes through the double doors and the hallway swallows him. The conference room door stands half open. Light spills out, yellow and cold. He stops just short, straightens his collar, wipes his sweaty palms on his trousers. He tells himself to fix his face, stand tall, but the hallway camera overhead catches the slight tremble in his hand anyway. He steps inside. Captain Reeves sits at the head of the cheap wooden table. Beside him, Internal Affairs, a man in a charcoal suit with a government ID clipped to his breast pocket. And across from them, calmly sipping stale precinct coffee from a white mug, Marcus J. Carter. Marcus doesn't even look up when Daniels enters. He just stirs the coffee with a tiny plastic stick, the soft clink of it the loudest thing in the room. Reeves's eyes find Daniels's. No greeting, no smirk. Just ice, sit down. Daniels moves like a puppet, chair scraping too. Loud on the scuffed tile. He tries to catch Marcus's eyes, find the fear he swore must be in there somewhere, but Marcus doesn't give it. Not an inch. The yeah man clears his throat. Officer Daniels, do you know why you're here? Daniels's mouth is dry. Routine review, sir? Marcus's eyebrow twitches, amusement flickering at the corner of his mouth. He takes a slow sip, sets the mug down. The ring of it touching the table echoes like a gavel. Captain Reeves's voice is low, sharp. Tell me again exactly what you said when you pulled over Mr. Carter. Daniels's eyes flick to Marcus, but Marcus just leans back, folding his hands neatly over his knee, calm, collected. Watching. Daniels feels the walls closing in. The badge on his chest feels like an anchor now, dragging him deeper into something he doesn't understand yet. He tries to speak, but his throat locks around the lie. And Marcus doesn't even need to raise his voice to win. He just sits there, the room bending to him without a word. The EA conference room feels colder than the night outside. The hum of the old projector fills the silence like an insect in the walls, steady, relentless. Daniel sits stiff-backed at the far end of the table, eyes fixed on the flickering screen. Captain Reeves stands with his arms crossed near the door, saying nothing. The internal affairs man clicks a remote, and the dashcam footage freezes on the grainy image of Daniels leaning into Marcus's window, flashlight raised like a threat. We don't hire people like you. Daniels flinches as his own voice crackles. From the tinny speakers. Ugly, raw, impossible to misinterpret. The line echoes in the stale room. Marcus doesn't watch the screen. He watches Daniels instead, eyes calm, almost pitying. He leans back in the metal chair, fingers tapping the side of his coffee mug. The same calm that rattled Daniels' roadside now pins him here under harsh fluorescent lights that show every twitch, every beat of sweat. The EA man clicks forward. The footage jumps. Now Daniels is tearing up the license, grinning like a man who thinks the camera is his pet. Oops, guess you'll need a new one. Daniels can feel his pulse hammering. In his ears. He can't look away, can't ask to stop the tape. The law he bent now bends him back over the cheap plastic chair. Captain Reeves's voice cuts through the static. You think this is funny, Daniels? Daniels's mouth opens, dry and useless. He tries to find Marcus's eyes for some clue. An escape hatch, a secret mercy, but Marcus's gaze is iron, unforgiving. Patient. The footage rolls on, Daniels barking orders, trying to drag Marcus from the BMW, trying to push power he never really owned. The audio picks up every word, every breath, every forced threat. You think you're above the law? Marcus's quiet response slices through the grainy speaker. You really should check who you're disrespecting. A silence heavier than any gunshot fills the room. The projector's fan hums. The last frame freezes on Marcus's calm face under the flashing lights, a ghost in the dark, more powerful than the badge that tried to cage him. Daniel shifts in his chair, sweat trickling down his spine. He glances at the EA man, but there's no pity there either. Just the scratch of a pen against paper. The quiet clicking of a report being sealed up tighter than any cell door. Marcus lifts his mug and sips slowly, like he's watching a dull play he's seen 100 times. He sets the cup down with a soft tap that sounds louder than the room's breathing. Captain Reeves leans in, voice like gravel dragged over steel. You know what happens next, Daniels? Daniels tries to swallow. The words stick. Captain, But Marcus lifts a hand. One small gesture, graceful, final. And the apology Daniels tried to fake by the roadside evaporates under the real weight of truth. Daniels suddenly understands something he never wanted to know. This was never about the stop. This was always about the rank dot and tonight, the footage. Wrote his story for him. Daniel sits frozen. The echo of his own voice from the dashcam footage still hanging in the stale precinct air like a bad smell that won't fade. The projector's bulb flickers and dies with a soft pop, throwing the room into flat fluorescent brightness. Captain Reeves shifts, arms still crossed, jaw clenched tight enough to crack teeth. The EA man closes his folder with a soft thud, his eyes flicking from Daniels to Marcus, waiting for the final cut. Marcus folds his hands on the table. No mug now, no props, no small talk. Just a man in a perfectly tailored suit, posture easy, but eyes sharp enough to slice through every excuse. Daniels might be clinging to, Officer Daniels, Marcus says. His voice is calm, conversational, the same tone you'd use to order lunch. You still don't know who you pulled over, do you? Daniels opens his mouth but finds no lie big enough to crawl behind. He shakes his head instead, shoulders hunched like a schoolboy in the principal's office. Marcus leans back in his chair, just slightly, a king on a borrowed plastic throne. 3 years ago, your department signed a federal oversight agreement, civil rights accountability. New York Attorney General's Office, Oversight Branch. That ring any bells? Daniel swallows. His tongue feels like wet sand. He tries to look at Reeves for backup, but Reeves's face might as well be carved from stone. Marcus taps the table once. A quiet beat that resets the room's air. I run the review unit, Marcus says. The words aren't loud, but they hit like a hammer. I lead the independent task force investigating racial misconduct in roadside stops. The EA man's pen hovers over the folder, ready to punctuate the sentence with ink and signatures. Marcus's. Eyes lock on Danielle's. Tonight was not random. We've had complaints, years of them. Nobody ever brave enough to file a formal statement, not when they knew it'd disappear before sunrise. Daniel's mind reels backward, stops that. Blurred together, insults flung through open windows, casual threats swallowed by the dark. The dash cams that should have betrayed him but always fell accidentally offline. His stomach turns. Marcus's voice drops softer, almost gentle, which somehow makes it worse. So we tested the system, we tested you. Daniel's lips. Part, dry and cracked. You set me up? Marcus's eyes narrow, mild amusement dancing at the corner of his mouth. No, you set yourself up. I just gave you a stage. Reeves unfolds his arms, steps forward so the table's edge presses into his belt. You embarrassed this department. You embarrassed every badge in this city. And you embarrassed yourself. Daniels wants to stand, to shout, "This isn't fair." He tricked me. But the words don't come. The uniform feels too tight, too heavy. The badge on his chest doesn't shine. It burns. Marcus glances at the EA man. How long will this take? Not long, EA says, almost bored. He slides a form across the table. The simple word suspension stamped in black at the top. Marcus shifts his gaze back to Daniels. That same calm stare that started roadside under the red and blue. Lights. He lifts his hand as if to offer a handshake, but stops halfway, leaving Daniels' outstretched apology hanging in empty air. You asked who I thought I was, Marcus says, voice soft as a closing door. Tonight you found out. Daniels sits alone in the squad locker room, the echo of his own footsteps bouncing off chipped concrete and dented metal lockers. The echo is the only thing left that feels loyal. Everything else has turned its back. His badge sits on the wooden bench beside him. It catches the flickering overhead light but gives off no warmth, no weight worth holding on to anymore. He runs his thumb over the engraved number like maybe he can rub the last 20 minutes out of existence. The door swings open, a quick burst of hallway noise. Phones ringing. Low voices. The static hiss of radio spitting calls Daniels no longer answers. Officer Kim steps inside, eyes darting past him to the badge on the bench. She doesn't say anything at first, just stands there, arms folded like she's hugging herself for protection. You okay? She asks finally. The question sounds forced, empty, an obligation more than a kindness. Daniels wants to snap at her, wants to stand and bark orders like he always did. But the words stay caged behind his teeth. Guess I'm suspended, he mutters instead, voice flat. Kim shifts her. Wait, eyes dropping to the badge again. They're saying you tore up a license, on camera. Daniels almost laughs, a sharp, bitter bark that doesn't reach his eyes. Yeah, and a lot more than that apparently. Kim doesn't respond. She just nods once, awkward. People are talking. Captain says I is not done. Daniels rubs his palm over his face, the stubble rasping under his hand. The quiet hum of the precinct outside leaks under the door, a world moving on without him. He's never felt it move so fast. Down the hall. Marcus's name drifts through open doors, whispered like a ghost in the walls. Marcus Carter. Federal oversight. Rank. He pictures Marcus walking through these halls right now, calm, suit crisp, eyes sharp, the same man who didn't flinch under flashing lights or empty threats. The same man who tore Daniels' illusion out, by its roots with nothing but a soft smile and the truth. Daniels' mind scrambles for blame, for a shield he can hide behind, but there's nothing left. no patrol car, no fake brotherhood. Just the echo of his own voice saying, "You people never learn your place on an endless loop." He stands, picks up the badge. It feels colder than the room. He considers slipping it into his pocket, but instead lays it gently on top of his locker. Like an offering at an altar that no longer accepts his prayers. In a side office, Marcus stands at a window, phone to his ear, voice calm and steady. Behind him, folders lie open. Other complaints, other names, other stories waiting to be brought into the light. He glances through the glass and catches Daniels' eye for half a second. No gloating, no pity, just quiet confirmation that power doesn't always wear a uniform. Daniels turns away first. When the door clicks shut behind him, the badge stays behind, cold, alone. Just another piece of metal waiting to be claimed by someone who might actually deserve it. The precinct's cracked parking lot hums under yellow streetlights as Marcus steps outside. The night is colder now, sharp enough to make the breath cloud from his lips. Behind him, the concrete walls hold the stale echo of the conversation that broke one man and might just fix something bigger. He stands for a moment beside his car, the same black BMW, polished under sodium light like a silent witness. The highway dust still clings to the wheel wells, the ghost of the stop still lingering on the hood where Daniels tried to press him down. But Marcus doesn't touch it. He just slides his hands into his coat pockets and watches his own reflection in the driver's side window. The calm he wore inside the precinct lingers, but under it is something sharper, the same steel that made him stand there by the roadside. UNBENT. Inside the precinct, whispers grow. Names are spoken. Complaints that once gathered dust slide across desks toward fresh eyes. The badge on Daniels' locker bench sits like a relic, an artifact of an old power that cracked under its own arrogance. Marcus knows this moment won't make headlines. It won't trend. No shaky cell phone video will spark protests in the streets. But that was never the plan. Change, real change, never starts in the roar. It starts in the hush, a quiet conversation at a cracked table, a license ripped and replaced with something unbreakable. One man stripped of his illusions, while the system that shielded him starts to tremble under its own weight. Marcus's phone vibrates once in his pocket. He pulls it free, glances at the message, a simple check mark from his team back downtown. One more piece of paper filed. One more name moved under the microscope. He slips the phone away, opens the BMW's door, and slides in behind the wheel. The leather seat greets him with the same cool embrace. He starts the engine, a smooth purr, the same purr that made Daniel see a threat instead of a man. As he pulls out of the lot, the precinct shrinks in the rear view. Concrete walls, flickering lights, shadows of men who thought they could choose who mattered. He doesn't look back. The highway opens in front of him, black ribbon under a sky scattered with stars. His hands rest easy on the wheel at 10 and 2. Same position, same calm. But the world behind him has shifted a notch on its axis. Up ahead, another checkpoint waits, another stop, another badge that thinks it can hold him in place. He almost smiles at the thought. Let them try. This revolution doesn't shout. It doesn't carry signs or megaphones. It whispers through cracks, slides under doors, files paperwork nobody thought would ever see daylight. And when it's done, the power that thought it owned the night will look up and realize it never did. Marcus presses the accelerator. The BMW gliding into the dark. No sirens this time. No flashing lights. Just the hum of quiet power, rolling forward mile by mile. Tonight was never about revenge. It was about respect. About reminding the road who really owns it and the uniform. Who really answers to who. Under the blanket of stars, Marcus drives on. Calm, UNBOTHERED. A quiet revolution humming on four wheels.